Okay. Next question. We want only accounts that have a related contact with the first name as Forbes. Okay. So how will we do this, and how does this query actually work? So what we'll do is, in this one, before starting out, try it with yourself again. Okay, I hope you tried it yourself. Let's write this one now. Select name of the account, where ID in, and in this subquery, just get the um, just get the contact that have name as Forbes. That's it. That's it. That's all you need to do. Let's try it out. Let's say for this guy, scene Forbes. So we have this edge communication. So what this query did is it fetched us the account that had contact with the last name of Forbes. So that is edge communication. You can play around with it and try with different names. Okay. Okay, so whenever you are facing questions related to SOQL, a question that gets repeated a lot and lot of times is this: how to call setup and non-setup objects PML in SOQL in a single transaction. And that's a follow question, so I'll get into that. So, how do you call a setup and non-setup object, and what is mixed DML error? Okay, how to avoid mixed DML error. So these are basically just the same thing, right? What is setup objects? First of all, understand that setup objects is like user, and non-setup object is like other objects apart from user, that is account, contact, opportunity, all those. Okay. And how will you call them in a single transaction? So if you try to call these in a single transaction, that is, if you say something like select ID from um, user, and also try to query opportunities or account at the same time, you will get a mixed TML error. Okay. So how would you resolve this error is you have to basically separate out the transaction. Okay. So separating out the transaction is basically you will have to make use of either future call, queueable, right? These are what asynchronous effects. So you need to make use of these. Okay, this is the first point. And a follow-up question could be, what if you cannot use future or queueable or asynchronous effects? So how will you avoid this mixed DML error? So for this, you can just make use of Salesforce flows. Okay, you can just make use of Salesforce flows. So in that, you won't get this DML error, mixed DML error. Perfect. All right, moving on to the next question, that is SOQL query to get um, to order the contact's first name by their first character. Like the A's should be displayed first, then the B's, then the C's, then D's, and so on and so forth. And this should only be applicable in first name. This may seem a little bit tricky, but it is not. Just try it yourself. If you find it difficult, so here's the solution. What you need to do is select ID first name from contact and just order it by first name. So when you order this by first name, the first name with A's, B's, and C's will get displayed accordingly. So let's try it out. Try this out. So here we have Andy, Arthur, Ashley, Avi, Barbara, ABE, right? So what happens with the last name? Last name will be displayed, uh, will not follow this order by. So it will display whatever it is, right? It just follows the first name order by. Cool. Okay. This is again a repeated question. So I just told you that we can use make use of anti joins here. This was our first question, so we can very easily tackle this now. Okay, how to avoid mixed TML errors without using asynchronous call. We just discussed this. You can make use of Salesforce flows. Okay, next question. Fetch only those accounts which have closed won opportunities. So we need to only get the accounts that have a closed won opportunity. So how will we do this? We have two solutions for this. The first one would be select account ID from opportunity, where stage name equals to close one. So this will give you all the account IDs that have a stage associated opportunity stage name as close one. If you want, you can get the name of the opportunity, so on and so forth, right? What is the other solution for this? Um, we can do this using subquery as well. Select ID, and then in the second like the comma, after the comma, you can just mention select ID from opportunity, where opportunities, because this would be a relationship where stage name equals to closed one from account. So basically, you are doing the query on the account, but selecting the opportunities that is a relationship name of all the opportunities where the stage is closed one. So we have approach one for this, and this is the approach. Okay, whichever you feel like. Next up, we have something called as dynamic queries. So the interviewer might ask you what is, first of all, dynamic SOQL queries, and how would you construct a dynamic SOQL queries, right? What are the considerations, security consideration that you should be aware of? Okay, so in this one, you can basically pass a variable in the SOQL query, and that would make it dynamic. And what are the security considerations that you should be aware of? The security consideration is you should always escape the characters that comes in that variable, because we don't know what the user is inputting in that. So it could cause SOQL injections, right? So to prevent that, you should use escape single quotes or something like that. Okay. Next up, what is the use of a database.query in Apex for dynamic SOQL? How does it differ from static SOQL? So, dynamic SOQL is basically, I just told you that we can make use of variables. Dynamic is itself like it depends upon the variable's value. The results will depend upon the variable's value. But in static SOQL, it's like always the same values will be given to us. A static SOQL does not have this problem of SOQL injection. It is safer, but it's not dynamic. So whenever you are using a dynamic SOQL, make sure you avoid this SOQL injections, right? We just discussed this. How would you approach a situation where SOQL needs to be modified frequently based on the user input? What strategies would you ensure and maintain to what strategy would you use to ensure maintainability and security? Okay, this is like question that was recently asked to one of my friends. So how would you do this is basically um, whenever you want such things to happen, right? You can either store it into a custom label, or let's say into a custom metadata, right? And you would be basically querying the um, custom label or the custom metadata first, and then variable, pass that value into another SOQL query, so that it whenever you feel like the pass that into a SOQL query, into another SOQL query. Um, so this would be very dynamic, and this SOQL query could be also changed in production as well, because of course you can change custom labels and custom metadata, right? So this would be very dynamic, and it can be based on the user input. Okay, we have another few questions. You can, search for yourself. These were also asked, but I won't be going into much detail in this video. Maybe I'll cover it in future videos if you like. Just comment if you want the solution for these questions as well. Basically, you have questions like how would you handle hierarchical SOQL queries, related to date time questions. How would you use last 10 days? What is the use of last 10 days? How would you handle date time time zone considerations, right? Um, we discussed this anti-join part. You can search for semi-join. Comment below if you want this semi-join video as well. How would you use polymorphic SOQL queries? So we have task and events, and we have what IDs and who IDs, right? What IDs can be polymorphic with the related records. So this is basically that. And how would you handle querying large data set that might exceed the governor limits? So just go through these questions. These were also asked, and these are also important questions. Just go through these. Um, and I think if you understand and read all of these questions, it should be more than sufficient for all the software related questions, mostly, right? So just go through this video again if you feel like, if you are forgetting something, or if you want to revisit some topic. And let me know if you need answers to these questions as well. I'll be making sure to cover them in the next video if you want. Thank you, and bye bye. Take care.